Meanwhile, in New York, Aaron Rodgers provides fodder for the tabloids for Sports Talk Radio by skipping the mandatory minicamp, taking an unexcused absence after he himself had claimed that much of the stuff that had gone on with Jets franchise had to be eliminated, that people had to focus on football. And now we have Tyrod Taylor taking snaps as the starting quarterback, where Aaron Rodgers has gone on a previous commitment that he had discussed with the Jets head coach, Robert Saleh. But the fact of the matter is, this has been a great time for the New York tabloids in mid-June, usually very quiet right now, but Aaron Rodgers gave them a gift that they were not expecting.
Yeah, some of the headlines, just go look them up. They're a lot of fun. Mike T, you know this organization as well as anybody. Is this a red flag situation at all for you?
You know, it should be, but a couple of thoughts come to mind, Laura. First of all, Aaron Rodgers has burned through all this goodwill. A year ago, it was a honeymoon between him and the media, but I think he lost it all pretty quick. I think they feel like he's being disingenuous. And I think, candidly, this is an unforced error between Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers. Let me take you behind the scenes. For decades, the head coach sits down with the quarterback in late January, early February, says, hey, we got to map out the offseason program. I need you here for mandatory minicamp. What dates work for you? And they could have easily tweaked this a couple days if Aaron, whatever he was doing.
Could have done it the previous week.
Yeah, of course.
Could have done it last week.
So, like, to me, this is an unforced error. It makes Aaron Rodgers look bad. And to me, it really makes the head coach look bad because they could have figured out proactively when he could have been there.
Yeah, listen, you're not going to lose any games in June, but like Mike T talked about, this was an unforced error. I just speaking for myself as a former player, I'm not going to miss mandatory minicamp. Like anything that I have going on during the offseason, you plan around certain dates during the offseason. Okay, so we got mandatory minicamp. Usually it happens in the first or second week in June. I'm going to make sure I'm taking any trips, vacations, or whatever the case may be around those dates. And if you don't have any type of family situation, family emergency, or emergency for yourself, there's really no reason for you to miss mandatory minicamp. So again, you're not losing any games in June, but I mean, come on, Aaron, like, really?
Yeah.
It's just again, it's an unforced error. It didn't need to be this way.
You know, Adam, I realize if you knew where he was, you would already tweeted it, but like, where is he? What's this guy doing?
Well, I would imagine he's on some long-planned vacation into who knows where, doing whatever Aaron Rodgers does. He's got an awful creative imagination during the offseason. He does some tremendously fun, exciting things. Who knows where he is right now?
That works. And now it's, you know, he's going to have to answer this question, whether he likes it or not, at some point in training camp. Instead of talking about, hey, the excitement, all the additions, they're going to question his commitment, and it's going to make him uncomfortable when, you know, they should be looking forward. They're going to be looking backwards.
Yeah, I think we all agree. It's like much ado about nothing, right? It's June. D. Wood said it. You're not going to win or lose games in June, but it just feels avoidable with a team that does want to focus on moving forward on the field after a disappointing season last year. Either way, we'll keep an eye on it. Let's go to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are in mandatory minicamp as well. Joe Burrow, coming off his wrist surgery, he's been back on the field, and his number one wideout, he's also there. Look at number one, literally, Jamar Chase. He's awaiting a new contract. Adam's got more on that in a moment. No holdout, though, from Chase. Head coach Zach Taylor was asked about having Chase back on the field.
Yeah, it was good to get him back in here. He's in great shape. He had his process he went through with Joey Boze. Again, when someone's not been here, you don't want to rush them into things. But he clearly has done a great job this offseason. Really happy to get him back in the building. He was in all the meetings, did all the walkthroughs and all that stuff, and then did a great job mentoring some of the other players as he was out there during practice. So I thought we got what we needed out of him, and was appreciative of him of even though it is mandatory. I mean, you see it's not, you know, there's still guys that aren't always there, and he showed up and did everything that we talked about him doing.
Yeah, so here's the other thing. The Bengals will have 3 new starters on their offense following the departures of Jonah Williams, Joe Mixon, and Tyler Boyd. They'll also have a new offensive coordinator as Dan Pitcher replaces Brian Callahan, who's now the Titans head coach. As for their wide receivers, well, T. Higgins has not signed his franchise tag yet. He's not there either. And Jamar Chase, of course, seeking that new contract. Adam, what more can you tell us about the contract talks between Jamar Chase and the Bengals?
Listen, Laura, the market has been established. We saw Jamar Chase's former college teammate at LSU, Justin Jefferson, get an average of $35 million per year. So Jamar Chase now has an idea roughly of what his value should be. And by him showing up at mandatory minicamp, despite the fact that he's not practicing, he now avoids fines that come along with it. And it's really an effort of goodwill here, a goodwill gesture to show up there so that you can talk to the Bengals in good faith and not have any issues, whereas many players like to skip mandatory minicamp and take a combative approach. It feels like Jamar Chase is doing the opposite when we know the wide receiver market is going to be in the 30s. It's not a hard deal to figure out. It's going to cost the Bengals an awful lot of money. They really can't do much with T. Higgins right now. He's refused to sign the franchise tender. Haven't been a lot of talks. And so the focus is and should be on Jamar Chase with a market that has been set around. Shouldn't be that hard to get a deal done.
Yeah, you know what? I think Cincinnati made a mistake, and here's why. We have a graphic here showing the salaries at the wide receiver position. It's unbelievable how much they've gone up over the last couple of years.
Waited.
And by waiting, it's costing them a lot of money. And more fundamentally, it's going to cost them T. Higgins. They drafted Jermaine Burton guys in the 3rd round who's going to have to play next year when T. Higgins graduates. And the big winner is Jamar Chase. He let his LSU teammate, Justin Jefferson, do all the work. He'll go above $35 million a year. Thank you very much, Justin.
Yep.
And I don't know why Cincinnati waited. They had 2 great young receivers. One's going to have to graduate, and now they're going to have to pay a massive premium to Jamar Chase because of the skyrocketing nature of this position.
Yeah, there are a few contending teams, dealing with this right now. You think about the 49ers, they're trying to hold on to multiple wide receivers and top-level wide receivers, but you want to in this league. D-Wood, what's another question mark for you when you look at this Bengals team?
Yeah, just focus on the offense. How this offensive line is going to shape up. Obviously, we know they drafted Marius Mims out of Georgia in the 1st round. Trent Brown came over, from the Patriots. How well can this unit really, how cohesive can this unit be? Because if you look at what's been going on with the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow hasn't had necessarily the best protection. Obviously, he's coming off of that wrist injury that robbed him of most of 2022. 2023. So it's going to be imperative that this offensive line in Cincinnati, where they've invested a lot of assets and resources into it, for those guys to really step up and really protect the quarterback.